Snelly in the morning.
BBC Radio Merseyside.
I don't know about you, but I do love gadgets, and I've bought some cheap tat over the years. But, I love my phone, won't be without my phone because it can do so many different things. Tablets, they're all part of everyday life now as well, and technology really is changing the way that we do things, whether it's shopping online, doing your banking, or talking to your relative in Australia. Well, my next guest knows a thing or two about all things technology. He's been crowned the coolest techie in the North West. I expected you to come in with a crown on and a sash. The coolest techie in the North West. That's you, Leon.
Yep, that's me. It's it's one of those things, but I'm obviously, that's just me.
You're a Wavertree lad, aren't you? Leon Brown, he's been chosen as our local finalist in the hunt for the UK's coolest techie. He was picked and has been successfully running his own business, creating software for kids who struggle with dyslexia. So this is something you developed. Did you develop that because this is a condition that you've lived with as well?
Yeah, so what it is, it's a combination of from me having a background in IT, creating software, and then obviously what I've experienced from dyslexia myself. So using what I've learnt about my own learning issues, and then the compensation strategies that I've developed with that, and then combining that with the interest that I've had in developing apps and everything I've learnt about that.
It takes different forms, dyslexia, doesn't it? But just explain to a lot of people will know, but for people who don't, what happens to you? What do you see when you look at, say, a sheet of paper with a load of typing on it, a load of script, a load of writing on it? What do you see? Is it just spaghetti?
It's actually, dyslexia is different for everyone. So for some people it's to do with the reading, some people it's to do with writing, some people it's to do with things like memory and things like that. For myself, it's a lot to do with short-term memory, things like that.
Right.
So I've not really had a problem in terms of writing and reading, but obviously in terms of the memory and things like that, that obviously had an impact in terms of speech acquisition, the learning to read, and things like that. But once I've acquired those skills, I've obviously been able to perfect them, and then that's fine.
Is this something that you've always had, or did it come onto you? Because that can happen sometimes.
No, it's something that I've always had. But for the most part of or going through education, it was undiagnosed. So obviously it was one of those types of things where you just labelled as, oh, you don't try hard enough, you're a bit slow and things like that. But then obviously once I was diagnosed, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that must have been hard though. You're in school and always Leon, look, he's just lazy, he doesn't want to know, you're not concentrating, you're not focused, and it wasn't your fault. That must have been tough though.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. I think it's also an advantage, because with one of those things in terms of it's a strength and a weakness, because I think part of dyslexia is sometimes you don't click onto things as fast. So when obviously the negative part kind of just didn't appear to me at that time. So I was obviously able to ignore most of that.
How old are you now, can I ask?
33.
33, so pretty much the whole of your life. You've never really known your life without the internet. The internet has always been there from when you were a small child. But have you always been interested in gadgets and technology and that kind of thing? Did that fire you up?
Yeah, I would actually say as well. I'm very much a hands-on learner and a very visual learner, and with technology, it's a great way to be able to learn hands-on, and also to actually see things in action as well. And so from that, I would say that's the catalyst that enabled me to kind of develop compensation strategies for dyslexia.
So compensation strategies for dyslexia. Just break that down for me and tell me about your business and how this helps other people, particularly children.
So compensation strategies are ways in which, if you've got people without dyslexia, they'll take learning certain types of things for granted. So, for example, learning, I don't know, in maths, you might have a formula, and you'll just be, a lot of people will just be able to remember something just off by heart
straight away. Yeah.
But with myself, because it's very difficult to remember certain facts. Or names, dates, things like that. That's a difficulty for me. So
is that because of the short-term memory? Is that the reason why? Yeah.
So coming up with ways to get around that, and to come up with the same solution is what would be a compensation strategy. So in terms of maths, we would look at, for example, for me, learning more about concepts, more about visuals, more about stories, ways of remembering things, but where it's using visual memory rather than actual facts and things like that. So it's different ways of and then things through interaction as well.
Yeah. And what are the age groups that you work with? Do you work right across the board?
I work across the board. I've been working a lot more recently with people struggling with at GCSE level. So certainly, with their exams coming up, etc.
14, 15, 16, around about that age group. Yeah.
And so using the software, it's that I've developed that is based around what I've learned about my own compensation strategies. It's had a lot of success. So you're literally talking people who are massively struggling with maths. From the first lesson, they're being confident. From the second lesson, they're able to take on GCSE level questions, and then within 12 lessons, they're going from like a grade E to within reach of a C.
You must be very proud of what you've achieved from going back all those years. And you were told in school that you were not focused and you were lazy and you didn't want to know. I mean, now to look at you now, you're a business person and you're successful. I mean, you must be very proud of yourself.
Yeah, I would say it's an achievement. It's one of those things, though. I mean, if you take a look at a lot of people who've been affected by dyslexia, it can be an advantage because it allows you to see patterns and things in a different way to other people. Yeah. So, for example, Richard Branson is dyslexic.
I never knew that. I never knew dyslexia.
And Stan was as well. So it's so obviously with it's dyslexia, although it can be a disadvantage, it can be an advantage to be able to think outside of the box.
Right, because we're kind of conditioned in education, we're conditioned to work things out in this way. This is the way we've always done it, and this is the way it will be. But if you can't do it that way, you can see another little door that you can open and go through, and that's basically the way, what you've done.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who are dyslexic as well, just like myself, go through education without being diagnosed, and so they keep on hitting a brick wall is what I call brute force learning, in terms of they have to keep on trying, they have to try extra hard, but they're not able to reach the full potential. But with the right compensation strategies or a way of learning that suits them, obviously they'd be able to achieve a lot more. So we could have a lot more Einsteins, a lot more Richard Bransons, etc.
And a lot more Leon Browns as well.
Yeah, there you are. Even great.
Even better. You're right. Listen, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, and well done. I don't want to sound patronising in any way, but really well done. And this recent achievement, you've been crowned the coolest techie in the North West, and you're going to go on to compete in the finals as well. So we wish you all the best in that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. There's Leon Brown there from Waversley. What a great story. It's BBC Radio Merseyside. It's nearly 9 o'clock, and the news is next.